Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and everything in between. My name is Dustin Cormier, and welcome to another episode of How to Rock Astrology. Today, we are going to be unfolding the nature and character of someone who is born with the illustrious Moon in Scorpio as part of my Moon in Scorpio series. If you want to learn a bit more about the Moon in Scorpio, feel free to check out. I did a long video on the psyche of the Moon in Scorpio, so feel free to check that out to kind of understand the character of Moon in Scorpio. The good, the bad, and the ugly. As well, today in particular, we're going to be relating this Moon in Scorpio psyche to a person who has Venus also in the sign of Pisces. Now, we are getting into the territory where the Moon and Venus can be in trine to each other. This isn't the worst because Venus is giving, in Vedic astrology, we say the 9th house aspect is stronger. So Venus is giving a strong aspect to the Moon here, and the Moon is not Venus is not an enemy to the Moon, and Venus is a benefic. So Venus here, by expressing itself in playful, creative ways, it is giving its energy to the Moon and allowing the Moon to let go and to invite some Svadhisthana, second chakra energy. And we're going to talk about how that's a good thing, really, for the Scorpio Moon. But the Moon is leaning towards a trine here. Now, it's a 5th house trine, which means the Moon's aspect isn't as strong on Venus. The Moon is an enemy to Venus. And what can happen is that your enjoyment in your way, the fact that you enjoy things your way, is ultimately going to make Venus lose a bit of its ability to be reciprocal. This will be a lot heavier if the Moon, let's say, is at, the closer the Venus is to opposition. This is when things get tricky. Let's say if the Moon is at like 1 degree of Scorpio and Venus is at like 29 degrees of Pisces, it's moving towards that opposition, and this can cause a bit more of that energy. So just keep this in mind whenever your Venus seeks to share reciprocally with other people. Ultimately, though, this is going to allow you the chance to be playful with this rather moody and erotic and sensual and deeply soul passionate energy. And it's in the 5th from the Moon, which has a certain positivity. The 5th house tends to be an auspicious house because it's a trine. The energies of these two can kind of understand where each is coming from within your own psyche. So, here we have Venus in Pisces. Pisces is ruled by Jupiter, but of course Venus is exalted here. So there is a break. Ultimately, you're getting a break at the level of Venus here. You've been your Venus, by being exalted in the sign of its exaltation, is going to really open up your capacity to share and reciprocate loving energy in a loving way to people, not because you are insecure and you need to hold on to them, but you're going to have experiences of you enjoying things and them enjoying things, and them enjoying you at your most playful. And when somebody unconsciously enjoys your playful energy, it's going to cause you to drop your thought that you are so moody, so unpredictable, so unlovable that no one could ever possibly love you in a deeper way than all of the work and effort that you put into showing people that you can be such an excitable, fun person all the time. Venus being exalted in Pisces is going to invite experiences where partners can see you being playful, dropping the act, and just being yourself, not just playful, but also what happens at the best with this situation is that Pisces, by being exalted, allows you to feel obligated to share loving experiences with those who share loving experiences with you. There's a level of obligation And Venus being exalted is going to act, it's loud. Venus is loud in your psyche, which means that it can hear and understand the goodness of why that is. It's like when you're really thirsty and you drink a glass of water. Are you doing that for any other reason than the fact that it feels good? It just is. It just feels good. Venus in Pisces is exalted, and goodness is just experienced by you and by your partner. So you just do the good thing because you know that you're the flower in you is watered by that experience, and so you do it. You'll do things that are mutually reciprocally nice for your partners, and at some level it's going to be because you are insecure and you want to keep them, because that's the moon in Scorpio way. But this is what it's going to break down the dry isolatedness that the moon tends to experience by being in Scorpio. Venus and the moon share the space of the Svadhisthana chakra, the second chakra. As well, so does really Jupiter in a way. There's many ways of conveying the chakra energies. But the moon and Venus share the tattva energy of the water tattva. Although ultimately the moon, we don't want the moon to overtake the energy of your personal enjoyment, because we're talking about water, and water is your personal enjoyment. And relationships always work best when your water is going out and their water is going in, and it makes 1 + 1 = 3, where you enjoy putting it out there, they enjoy putting it out there, and the mutual enjoyment of this draws more water to just magically exist. That's kind of how the magic of this energy, the magic of the moon and Venus, that's how these things work. It's by being supported, you feel like more energy is able to do what the water chakra is supposed to do, which is to sizzle and to diffuse the willful energy of the Manipura chakra, the fire chakra, which we all have inside of us, and which you probably have a little bit too much of. There's a emphasis on ambition and a need to work harder for the things that the moon and Scorpio person seeks. And ultimately, that's not a good thing. That's not how the moon is supposed to operate. The moon does better by working smarter, not harder. This is explained by the idea that Venus is exalted in Taurus. Taurus is a sign of sharing and of ease, of just enjoying what is there, not trying to make something be there. That's what the moon in Scorpio does, is it tries to make something in its head, an idea of what should be there. The moon in Scorpio can be an isolated consciousness that will try to put out what it is, that the universe gives them something that they have fixated and held onto, in hopes that the world will give them something back. Your Venus in Pisces is going to invite opportunities that pull you out, allow you to go on a date with a person. Let's say, you want to go to the movies, and they bring you out to the movies, and they want to watch the movie that you want to watch. Probably because when you first met this person, let's say you met them at a bar, and you talk all about, what happens with Scorpio moon is that, like, the moon energy wants to have the yin and yang be permeable, so that when you go to work, you're both happy and sad. And then when you go home, you're both happy and sad. And you won't let your moods stop you from being yourself at home or at work. Moon and Scorpio at its worst, what they tend to do is that this is very black and white, where they're very happy and pushing to perform the happiness thing for the people in their lives that are loving to them and supportive of them, because they're afraid that if they get moody, then those people won't love them and support them anymore. So everyone sees moon and Scorpio as having lots of vitality. It's because the vitality comes from within you, because the moon in Scorpio wants to not need others, for better or worse. It's nice to not need others, but also it means that you gotta retain your happiness and inspiration by yourself in a lot of ways. And so what Moon and Scorpios do is throughout their lives, especially early in life, they have an ambitious energy. And what they do is that they go to work probably and they work on something very intensely, and they purge their emotions by being angry and putting themselves through difficult experiences at work. And they'll try, if your moon is well placed, because your moon can still be well placed here. It can be, if it's waxing, it is a bit happier and reciprocal to other people. And as well, if it is close to the full moon. The idea is for your moon to be in like the 5th and 6th house from the sun, or even the 7th house from the sun, but not going over. That means that it's close to full and it's also waxing. As well, your moon can be close to the 4th cusp of the natal chart, which makes the moon happier. And as well, it can have Shadbala. It can have aspects from its friends, the sun and Jupiter. If it's trine to Jupiter, even if it has all this other junk, Jupiter will teach it the importance of the wise way of getting what you want with other people, so that you can still be tough and stern in this way, but people will still come to you if your moon has positive aspects to it. And I should say, even if the moon doesn't have any of this, even if it is placed in a very difficult way, astrology is not as fatalistic as most people make it out to be, which means you can still be a person who meditates on the nature of love, on the nature of Venus, on the nature of the Svadhisthana chakra, and you can practice Santosha, which is one of the yamas and niyamas. Essentially, Santosha is the active understanding that we need to apply joy in our lives. Satya is the active understanding of applying emotional honesty to ourselves. And if you can intone these things, even if your moon has got all the worst things going on with it, you can still become somebody who can meet someone in the middle and not necessarily be an insecure person. So this is just the nature of Scorpio moon. At some level, you got to accept that you are a person who is isolated in this way, because that's probably the experience that you've had while you were younger. And what this brings out is a capable lover, but you have to break through people in order to, what I was explaining is that what happens with the moon in Scorpio is you want to break out of the black and white, of black at work and then white at home. Because what happens is that you'll push all your negative energy at work and you'll get through it and you'll push. And if your moon has benefic aspects like I mentioned, you'll do this, but you won't cause trouble at work. Nobody should bring their personal emotional energy into work, which is an objective thing. Ultimately, if you have support to your moon, you're still got the moon in Scorpio, which means you're still going to do this. You're going to put in a lot of negative energy at work, and then you're going to come home and, people see you at work and they see that you're tough and dry. People, when you're hanging out at a party, Scorpio moon will never show that at all, ever. You'll never see it, because they are happy and go lucky, and they seem to be so vital and so happy and so excited about themselves and all the things that they involve themselves with in their life, because it's all catered to your story and because you haven't invited anyone to share your narrative with, which is not, again, that means that whatever you got going on in your personal life better be really good, because it's the only one you'll ever know until you invite someone into that narrative. I digress. Scorpio moon tends to be tough at work, and then they get home and then they're super bright and happy, and it's like, oh, thank God, everything's all good now. And when the lover confronts you with something that they have a need that you haven't thought of, they have something that they've got to do that messes with your plans for your great ambition, all of a sudden the Scorpio moon, this will make you upset, and you'll freeze, and you'll get moody, and you'll drop out of it, and you'll drop out of your happy energy, and you'll say, fuck, I was pissed at work all day. I was so excited to get home and be happy. Now this person is confronting me with something, and I have to be dark again. And what you'll sometimes do is either run away from the person, or you'll whitewash over and say, yeah, that's all good, and then never communicate what you're actually feeling and then bottle it up deep inside. Or, ideally, what you should be doing is that if you truly love the person that you're with, you will abide by what their requests are, what their obligations are, what their reality is. And in the worst, you'll just cater to it because you know that that'll keep them wrapped around your finger. And that's a gross expression of Scorpio moon. Now, this is just me painting the Scorpio moon picture for you. What I'm inviting you to consider is that Venus in Pisces makes you somebody who can eliminate that black and white, where you're completely dark at work and you're completely bright at home. And how this happens is that you invite yourself to playfully share your energy with another person. Venus being in Pisces is exalted, and it's in the 5th house, so it'll have a playful aspect on the moon in Scorpio. Could be someone who, you're somebody who's passionate, who likes to talk about the things that you like to talk about. And you'll probably invite a partner. More than a lot of combinations, you'll be able to attract people who have the ability to see what you are, and for you to also not necessarily talk only about yourself, because the Venus in Pisces is loud enough that you're just going to enjoy actually talking with other people, listening to what they have to say, and feeling good about supporting them on what they have to say. And to feel good about good social experiences with other people. You'll enjoy them, and the water is kind of there for you to enjoy. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that you'll instinctively invite vulnerability in moments that you need to, at least not right away. But what'll happen, this is, like I said, the moon and Venus share the Svadhisthana, the 2nd chakra. And if the moon is debilitated, like it is for moon in Scorpio, that kind of means that Venus has to get the experience of breaking you through your psychological shells and barriers to the universal love and support that is kind of all around us all, without us all kind of realizing it. It's all there, but the moon in Scorpio says from the beginning, I don't need it, I don't need it, I don't need it. And then they find that there's not an abundance, there's a scarcity of love, because you've built yourself as a person who doesn't want support, doesn't want to share in the emotional support of others. And you probably don't think about doing things for other people in order to share a soul bond. But the Venus and Pisces in you loves friendship, loves doing things for people for its own sake and for sharing that energy. And it's through that this Venus will compensate for the lacking moon, where you'll be invited to have experiences of actually doing something for someone out of compassion, because they will do it for you, right? They invite you out to a movie, and you talk all about, you meet them at the bar, you talk about all these different movies that you enjoy, and they listen, and the two of you go away. Maybe you meet at the bar again next weekend, and it's the same person, it's the same energy, and you're revving it all up. And they tell you suddenly, yeah, I've got an opportunity to see like a Blue Jays game. Would you like to come and see it? Would you like to see that with me? And you'll say, sure, absolutely. Or it could be, really just like meeting at church, or like sharing in some kind of community venture. Your Venus in Pisces is going to invite people who like to do these kind of community things for other people. Even if, the partner might say, my friend's been down in the dumps lately, so I'm having a party for them. And I want to just have a bunch of people over to sort of have fun with them. And you'll say, great. So what'll happen is that you'll be there at this party, and you'll be a part of cheering the person up. Not every Scorpio moon would exactly be like this, but the Venus and Pisces in you is just open to the good feelings that the person's throwing you. And if you feel a soul bond is possible with them, and they say, yeah, I'm going to have this party for my friend because they're down in the dumps lately, you'll go there, and they invited you to this party, and you'll kind of help out with their friend and talk and be friendly and cheerful and talk with them philosophically and enjoy just having fun and kind of partying, listening to music and whatever it might be. And you're still very much yourself, not necessarily looking to share energy with anybody. You're the isolated person that you are. And if this person that you've been revving up jives with that energy, it's probably going to be the situation where you're who you are. You're the kind of come hither moon in Scorpio who's isolated from everybody, but is a fun and funny entertainer in your own sort of way and in your own sort of right. And because again, that's what people see at parties, is this moon in Scorpio being this happy character. Everyone thinks it's going to be moody, but it is moody. But you tend to only show people the positive mood, and then you just won't go to the party if you're feeling bad and moody. By this reciprocal thing, it's the Venus and Pisces that invites you to get out of this moodiness that you can't let go of. What I'm trying to convey here really is that love is acting on the sharing of joy and compassion and desire to serve, even when you don't feel emotionally capable or desirous of that. So you'll go out to this party and you kind of told the person you'd help them out and be at this thing and help out their buddy or whatever, and they notice that you aren't looking to grab every single one person. You're kind of psychically like working towards going to with them. And if they like what you're throwing down, and if they like all of that, what will essentially happen is that they'll be happy that you're helping them and that you came to this party. And, you know, they invited you to this party. So what you'll do is you'll have a little party as well. You've learned how they pulled you into this shared experience of sharing love. And so you might do, this is just the example that's happening in my head, but you might do that for your own friend. Say, I got a buddy who I'm kind of doing the same thing you did, you know? So if you want, you can come over and we could do the same thing. You'll reciprocate it. A better example is the movie thing. You know, you meet them at a bar, and they say, hey, so we've been at this bar, we've seen each other the last 4 weekends, and we have a good sort of seeming energy. So, you know, again, they're meeting you at all of your blissful happiness. You're still afraid that they might not appreciate the moody, true side of you, but you've seen them every weekend for every whatever. So then they say, hey, you know, how about we go and see a movie? I noticed that this is them talking to you, you mentioned, because you talk a lot about yourself, and that's okay, you mentioned that you like that Avengers movie. And, you know, let's do it. I'll take it. We'll go out to the movies and we'll watch that Avengers movie. And you'll say, oh, that's sweet. And what you do is you'll watch the Avengers movie because you enjoy them serving you as much as you enjoy you serving them, because Venus is reflective in that way. You'll appreciate someone serving you in this way. And what you'll learn from this is that they did this thing for you. Now you'll do it for them. You feel kind of obligated to it some level. Not obligated, but more like again, drinking water. Just feels good. Just feels enjoyable for you to share with other people what they've shared with you. And you're probably wise and smart enough to know that water, you know, honey attracts honey, like attracts like, good attracts good. So the next weekend, you'll call them up and you say, hey, you know, like I really enjoyed that. And you're learning, you know, whereas any other Scorpio moon might not reciprocate in this way or see that reciprocation at a heartfelt level. But you'll feel, just for the heart level's sake, that they did it for you, so you should do it for them. Do you want to go out and see a movie? You actually, I don't know if you've really mentioned, but I know you're kind of vibed along the same lines, so let's go out and watch that movie that you mentioned that you would like to watch. And the person says, yeah, great, wonderful. And the two of you go out, you do the movie, and through this experience, you find that you have been watering their energy, not because you're insecure and you want them to bond with you immediately, which you are probably afraid most people sense your neediness, and at some level that's always going to be there. It might intimidate some people, but you'll find partners that like it, if your moon is situated in a way where it can attract love despite being debilitated, or if you're somebody who has found that love is an important thing for you. Maybe you've got this moon that wouldn't typically think this way, but maybe your fourth house lord is prominently placed in your chart. Maybe you've got an important planet in your seventh house where marriage is an important thing. You've got to go through this karma. So you have found that you have got the shared experience of trading off the movie experience with this person, and when you do it for them, when you take them out for a movie, ask them what they like, and then you take them out for the movie, it's an obligation, and you feel the importance of drinking that glass of water. And so it's just good things, and you know it. So what you'll do is, out of that obligated sense of the goodness that comes from it, when you make the date night, it's next Friday, and you find or next Thursday, let's say Thursday is the only day that they can do it, and you've been pushing and working, and you're excited to do this thing with them, but something happens, some plan goes awry, and it's Thursday, and you're in a mood. And now you're so excited to be with this person, but now this uncontrollable mood that has always brought me down and always taken me out of my relationships, this mood has happened now. Venus has this promise that it would share water with the other partner. And you're going to do it because you feel the goodness from it. You feel that there's a goodness there that's stronger than my addictive, narcissistic envelopment in this mood thing that happens to all Scorpio moons, where their moods are so intense because they've always kept it to themselves, that they don't share it with others. And you know this about yourself. You know that moods can be so crippling. But the Venus will cause you to be obligated to do the movie with the person because they did it for you. And what happens is you go there and you're in a mood and you go to them and you're in this sort of demure sort of state, and you're kind of like, I'm sorry that I'm not as happy for this date as I was for the last one. I feel a little bit embarrassed about it because I've been showing you that I'm this happy person, but there are some times where I'm not that happy. And the person looks at you and says, there you are. That's okay. We're here to watch a movie. Don't feel too bad about it. Let's buy some popcorn. Let's see if you feel better by the end of the movie. And you'll go through your experiences, and they might feel it, and it's whatever, but you're in this obligated state. And the Venus, the enjoyment, the playfulness is something that you'll start to practice on so that you can give them the water that they give you. And what happens is that, lo and behold, you thought you'd never be able to love somebody, never actually have anyone to let you in on your emotional world, but you have the date with them. You feel better after, you kind of let the mood go, but it still might not have been the best date in the world, but you did it for them. And what you don't realize, you might not think about it because you got Scorpio moon, but psychologically speaking, they know that you were in that mood. They know that you held it down, shared that energy with them. And what you did is you watered a flower. And what's going to happen is that flower is going to fruit, and they're going to give you a gift, or they're going to give you a kiss, or they're going to say, don't worry about all your insecurities. Just know that I enjoyed this. It was a very sweet time, and I can't wait to see you again, even in whatever mood that you're in. And this is what allows you to be able to be both happy and sad at work, and then both happy and sad at home, so that the moon can now finally actually do what the moon is supposed to do, which is adapt to whatever's given and be in the energy of whatever is there, and to adapt. Even though you have this mood situation, you are not going to let your moods stop you from having a genuine experience of love on Earth. Venus in Pisces is going to be your way to cut through that crap. Venus is compensating for the dry moon at the Svadhisthana chakra, but you are getting that chakra figured out through Venus. Ultimately, there's still work to be done so that you can work out this thing if that is what you have, but this is a combination that allows this to take place. And if the moon is at a very hard angle to Venus, what you should watch out for is feeling obligated really to just do more of that happy thing, to try and give, to be an entertainer or performer of positive vibrations when you aren't actually in that space. Because what'll happen is you could still go out to the movie, completely just be Mr. Happy, fake whatever, and they'll get that experience and you'll get that experience, and the Venus is still helping you. But if there's an angle there, you could go away saying, I got the experience of love, finally. Now, I'm not going to call that person again because it was too intense and it took a lot of energy out of me. What I'll probably do is go on a date with another person and have that superficial experience again, and maybe even have sex, you know, like you'll entangle yourself sexually with people to show them that you're a great lover, and then you'll go home and you'll be back in your seething shell if the moon is at too heavy of an angle. But even in such situations, astrology is not fatalistic, and we can always see the energy that we could be pervading and sit in the heart of what the divine intelligence of soul bonding ultimately is trying to convey in each and every one of us outside of all astrological computation. That is my sort of conveying of the blessing and the curse of Scorpio moon with the blessing of Venus and Pisces. Now, if the angle isn't too hard here, then it won't be that bad, but ultimately every one of you with this combination has to be on the lookout for what I kind of just said. But I digress. Now that I've kind of given my spiel on it, next thing we're going to do is talk about Erotic Astrology by Phyllis Vega. It's a Western author's perspective on the bed making, love-making nature of Moon in Scorpio with Venus in Pisces. What we read is that intimacy plays a large part in the lives of the Moon in Scorpio, Venus in Pisces. Intimacy plays a large part of the lives of these highly sexed, romantic individuals. The Venus nature is just naturally romantic and wants to kind of have blissful, romantic, and easygoing romantic experiences of love, even though the passionate Scorpio moon inside can be blistering with the desire to be loved and make up for all the lack of deep soul bonding that it's had in its early childhood and etc. Or to at least, you might have been in love relationships that didn't work out for whatever reason. It's usually the Scorpio moon is unable to receive love in a true way, but the Venus in Pisces likes to be romantic, and the Venus in Pisces is learning what is the designated life path of true love for the Scorpio moon. The fifth house resonates with life path, with the sun in a way. It's a creative, romantic, true energy. So the Venus in the fifth here can invite, it learns the best of the Scorpio moon's romantic energy through Pisces, through also romantic energy. Pisces is romantic, and so is the fifth house. So you are a highly sexed and romantic individual. This is somebody who really needs to make sure that they're not giving all away their romantic energy to just anybody, because this is somebody who's lower on my worthiness scale, but because of that, I know they're never going to leave me. That's something you kind of got to watch out for with this combination as well. And the funny thing is that you'll be pervading this because they're both in water signs. So the Venus is kind of honest in a way, and if it does that, it's going to be a part of the consciousness, and that's a good thing because you'll probably get out of that relationship and eventually move towards one that is actually worthy of you. Just at that point, it's a matter of dealing with your insecurity of dealing with someone who really is matched with you, because you're not used to being an intimate person because of the Scorpio moon. Your emotional nature is so complex that your love affairs can be as turbulent as they are passionate. You may display a poignant vulnerability one moment and then become possessive and demanding the next moment. It's the poignant vulnerability is coming from Venus and Pisces. It's the willingness to see that the Scorpio moon is too intense and to play on it, to invite the other partner to be a part of that and to see that. But it's just, you know, if the other partner sees, okay, you're an insecure person, I get that. But if they sort of like get, you know, if too much of that is permeated by your honest Venus, what'll happen is you'll say, yeah, but I'm still super kick-ass. So, you know, like that's where the vindictive Scorpio nature is like, well, you know, even though I can have those things, it's not really a big deal because I'm a really awesome, passionate lover. And then this compensation can kind of come out. And that's this possessive demandingness where I let my vulnerability out to you, so you better really stick to me. And it's like, okay. Despite your strong libido, sexual satisfaction might not be the primary focus of your lovemaking. You crave a spiritual union that connects you to your partner, body and soul. And this is true, but what you have to be aware of is that strong libido getting you locked up and lost in the superficial engagement of sexuality, of people loving how hot your passionate energy is, you know, because if people, you know, you've got this deep underlying brooding libidinal energy, and if that's what connects you to your partner, you got to keep it up in order to keep them, which can get tiresome. It's this performance thing that Scorpio moon does, you know, that you want to watch for. Because ultimately, this is a person who can get wrapped up in many quantities of lovemaking and enjoying their libidinal energy for its own sake and losing out on the deeper bonding that this person really truly does. Because this is somebody who actually wants to be fitted in lockstep with a lover who's bonded at the soul level, who can go through your moods and still not only accept them, but love and appreciate that you're somebody who will still do the many things that you do for the partner despite the fact that you're moody. That's only going to come from a real love, pal. So I don't know why I'm talking like this, but that's only going to come from somebody who will actually put up with your moods. In fact, you're somebody who, through this Venus and Pisces, will put on what I talked about at work, where you'll push this angry, aggressive energy at work. You'll do it in your personal relationships just to sort of get it out, because the Scorpio moon kind of has to do that. And you'll test the partner to see, like, are you okay with this? If you don't like me at my worst, you'll never love me at my best, that kind of thing. But ultimately, the partner, only a partner who really loves you for everything that you are, is going to give you the best experience that you're truly craving. So keep that in mind as you're moving through this experience. Hope you guys enjoyed that. That was a long one. My name is Dustin Cormier. This is How to Rock Astrology. Let me know in the comments if you dug it, if you thought this was accurate, and keep watching, folks, because I'm always going to have more stuff coming out. Thanks for watching.